Hey everyone, today I am at the National Infantry Museum in Columbus, Georgia. Join me as I check it out. Right outside the front door here, they've got a large statue called the Infantry Man. When you first walk in the front door, there's this giant monument to the infantry where it says, "For over 2 centuries I have kept our nation safe, purchasing freedom with my blood to tyrants. I am the day of reckoning to the oppressed, the hope for the future. Where the fighting is thick, there am I. I am the infantry. Follow me." Right on the other side of that monument to the infantry is this cool little scene with soldiers.
So this is a redoubt. It's supposed to be redoubt number 10. This is like a depiction of the Battle of Yorktown, which was the most important battle in the Revolutionary War, which turned the tide to the American revolutionary sides versus the British. That's supposed to be Alexander Hamilton, one of the founding fathers. He wrote a bunch of the Federalist Papers, and he's really famous. They wrote like a play about it, Alexander Hamilton. These are called redoubts, this big mound of dirt. Mm-hmm. It's sort of just a buildup that the British made in order to prevent the assault from the Americans. And what I was told is that in order to silently assault the British in the night, the American troops were ordered to march on the redoubt with their muskets unloaded, which was like a very big disadvantage. But they did that because if the soldiers were to trip and fall, it was very common for weapons to set off by falling, and that would give away their position. These are supposed to be like buildups. Like modern day, this would be like sea wire or like
stakes.
Yeah, like that would be preventing an assault, it's kind of like barbed wire back in the day. But yeah, they chopped these down. They were supposed to wait for sappers, which is like military engineers, to destroy it. But Alexander Hamilton really pushed forward and like just destroyed it all. And they took it extremely quickly, overwhelmed the British, and turned the tide of the war. So yeah, that's this one.
Here's a figure of Captain William Allenbaugh, Civil War soldier, fought for the Union.
So like, there was 3 rushes before William Allenbaugh led the final 3rd rush, which successfully broke through this bridge, which was like a choke point. And the reason they were able to do it on the 3rd time is because they promised all the infantry troops like triple rations of whiskey in order to like get them more motivated to run across. Mm-hmm. That rifle right there, that's a Confederate soldier. The rifle he's holding is one of the first rifles that had rifling carved into the barrel, which made it more accurate and it shot farther. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Now we come to World War I.
Yeah. I don't really remember much about this one.
It's cool how they got these little setups, like with the soldiers and little battlefields.
I feel like
all the different eras. All right, now coming to the landing at Omaha Beach in World War II. A little scene here of this. The screen up there, showing some news footage from it.
Yeah, this is Normandy.
See this guy climbing side of this cliff.
And they were being attacked while they were scaling that wall. And I believe they took like 60% casualties. And so they started out with like 200 people and they only made it up to the rock with 90%. All their like radio and all that equipment was completely destroyed when they got to the top. So they had to conduct the entire mission without like proper communication equipment. Like they just had to like use their voices and things like that. Because when they got to the top, the Germans had moved the artillery, so they had to fan out, find where it was, destroy it, which they did eventually.
Here's recapturing the rock. Airborne trooper, and you can see in his parachute, some news footage with that too.
A lot of broken bones, I guess. They like slammed really hard up against the ground. It was the lowest drop in United States history for airborne. I think it was like 400 feet, and you need like 300, close to 400 feet for the parachute to even start to break your fall. So it's like they pretty much just jump straight out of the plane. So the Korean War, it has a nickname. It's called the Forgotten War. And that guy right there, right on the sandbags, on the front of the bayonet charge, I believe that is, well, it's named after him. That's Millet. I believe it's Captain Millet. and he was famous for, I believe, having the first 2 successful ever bayonet charges in like the modern day. I think that's what they said. The Chinese were talking crap. They were spreading propaganda saying that the American soldiers couldn't do hand-to-hand combat, and so he like trained up his soldiers really well with it. He dodged like 8 grenade blasts, was hit with 1 grenade directly, but he kept charging through and attacked and killed a bunch of people. So this is Vietnam, the one that Grandpa was in. This specific operation was called Landing Zone X-Ray. It says right there as well. But essentially, every military operation in America, they want a 3-to-1 odds, 3 being us, 1 being the enemy. They want overwhelming odds. This one, with their information, they thought it was going to be 3-to-1 odds, but they forgot about all the tunneling in Vietnam, which is what Vietnam was famous for. And so they landed in an open field, expecting us to have overwhelming odds. What they didn't know is they landed on like a huge compound underground in Vietnam. Yeah, and pretty much all the Vietnamese soldiers were popping up like gophers, and they outnumbered us like 5-to-1. And it was a massacre, but I believe we still came out on top. Those are drones and stuff, like Obama drones, whatever you call them.
Oh, yeah. That thing up there,
yeah,
hanging from the sky.
Oh, that's a drone? Is that like a camera?
Well, yeah, Obama was like super famous for like 1 billion drone strikes, and like,
Oh, yeah.
this is a Bradley. Well, the guy on top is giving directions for the gunner to shoot.
Yeah.
Usually that only happens if like the advanced like camera is like destroyed. But they told us that this vehicle was destroyed or at least blown up twice, and then the 3rd time it was put out of commission. It's because underneath like an IED went off, exploded, killed the driver and like the gunner. And then they sent it here, they lowered it down in a crane, and pretty much the entire museum was built around this Bradley.
Is that right?
Yeah, because it's like super heavy and hard to get through.
And here, this part of the museum is dedicated to Fort Benning, home of the infantry.
I will insist that each soldier meet the maintain beyond the standards of military behavior.
Consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army.
I am
That's just gauze. There should be like something to stick in the nose there to help breathe. That's like a card you have to fill out. But yeah, this
You
is
have your own bag?
yeah. So everybody carries one, and if I'm injured, I have a bag like that on me, and they will use my bag to like treat my wounds or whatever.
It's Officer Candidate School.
Say what?
Officer Candidate School. That's O-C-O.
Officer Candidate School. Oh, okay. Learn to Lead, Army Officer Candidate School.
That's Canal Field. So supposedly there's dirt from every battle since the 1900s on that field.
Oh, really?
Yeah, spread across. So like returning war vets.
Buried under the grass, huh?
Yeah. They bring dirt here and stuff like that.
Here's a little small vehicle, as you can see, with a picture in the back, the guy laying in his belly. It was called the belly flopper. It said in 1937, a prototype 2-man automatic weapons carrier was fabricated at Fort Benning. Although it never went into production, it did inspire the development of the famous World War II Jeep. Here's a Harley-Davidson's contribution to the Army in 1942 as a model called the WLA with a Golding LS 29 sidecar. So this section is called Hall of Valor, and it just has pictures of a lot of American soldiers throughout history. And all of the people whose pictures are in here all received the Medal of Honor. All right, so I got a VR center, and we are going to do the paradrop simulation.
Go ahead and open the gate and take a seat. Make sure you're You can hold up your hands for me. All right, just make sure to go up, pull down on both, go down, you go up with both, put your left foot to turn.
Yes, sir.
So screen shows us what he's seeing.
Wait, I already forgot how to do it.
You gotta go through the rings.
I'm scared. Okay.
All right, there you go.
Missed it! You went right under it. Missed it.
Yeah, I would do this as a ranger.
No! I missed it. Ah!
Got that one. Missed it.
I'm not very good at this. Ah! Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
I printed his results. Score 85447.
Let's see your score. Oh,
Let me see.
40.
Let me see. 40?
40,000.
40,000?
Securing our freedoms, defining the nation. The French 16th century halberd. This pole that this guy is holding, the pole arm, served many functions for the foot soldiers of European armies. This is the Continental Infantry uniform from 1779, known as lottery coats. France provided uniforms for the entire army, but with different facings. Here is a U.S. Army Legion infantryman from 1795. This was a rifleman's summer uniform in the 1st Rifle Regiment, War of 1812. Here on the left is the color sergeant of the Mexican War from 1846 to 1848. And here on the right is the musician pattern of 1813 uniform, War of 1812. Here's the uniform of the infantry officer from the Mexican War from 1846 to 1848. Here's a Corporal Winter uniform, Western Frontier, worn from 1870 to 1880. Here's an Infantry Corporal USCT Civil War uniform, worn, depicted here by a black soldier, the colored troops as they called them. Here's an oil painting on canvas that was painted in 1892 called The Century, and the artist, his name was William Spang. This section is dedicated to the history of the armor and cavalry. Here's a depiction called Armor in Vietnam. It said to get more infantry troops into the fight, the U.S. used the M113 APC as a mobile platform in Vietnam.
So he didn't explain to me about all these people that were on the
Who?
upper grandpa. Richard.
Yeah.
He didn't explain to me all of these guys who were sitting on top, but he was down inside. And he was, that might have been what he was doing, this guy up here. And he had this big gun that he was shooting at everybody. And that was when, and all of these cans of ammo. I think what they've done here is they've pulled the inside up. But there were guys on top, and he got shot, and he fell down into the heart of this thing, and he's just laying there on top of all of these cans of ammo. And they're like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he's not talking because he thought he died and went to heaven for all of the fireworks.
So this is from World War I.
I think so, because that's the only time I can think of where the like horse and the tanks and the modern military sort of combined.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like when there's a crossover. And eventually after that, like, horses were killed in droves to where they just became obsolete. But
I love horses. They're so beautiful.
because somewhere in here, I don't know if it's this one, there's like a gas mask for horses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's in this one or a different one, but okay, this is actually World War II, I think. That's what this is for. Yeah, it's World War II. But
This is World War II.
yeah, Sherman tank. I don't know why there would be a horse there. I'm assuming a spotter, maybe? But yeah.
So these are the holes that these armored rounds would make. A sabot, a hep. Hep barely just kind of dents it. Well, I shouldn't say barely, but the one in the middle is the sabot, and that's the hole it makes. And what is that, lead?
It must be. The plate has 3 impact strikes that has been struck by a 105 millimeter tungsten sabot that ripped through in 1/10,000th of a second.
And this armor plate is 6 inches thick. Souvenirs and collectibles. Got a bunch of shirts and sweatshirts. They even got some MREs here. They got magnets, shot glasses, hats. Got some standard issue chocolate ammo. Oh, look at this, grenade shot glasses. Those are cool. It says, "I'm a veteran, nothing scares me." And treat them rough. Join the tanks, United States Tank Corps. Here they got a book called Herbal Medic, a Green Berets Guide to Emergency Medical Preparedness and Natural First Aid. Here they got some kid stuff. Little kid clothes, kids' toys. And they got some boots and some canteens. Here they got some candy, and I like this one. It's called the Ammo Pack. It's a musket ball candy. Here they got some hot sauce in glass bottles that look like grenades. They've got a Reaper, Danger Close, Grunt Green. This one right here is just salt, assault weapon. Here's a cool looking 1,000 piece jigsaw puzzle. They've also got this little cafeteria and snack bar here at the museum. Hey everyone, once again, this was the National Infantry Museum located in Columbus, Georgia. This museum is it's really big. There's just far too much here. There's no way I could get it all into the video. So there's obviously a lot more here than I was able to include. It's really cool, definitely a cool place. Definitely worth checking out if you're ever in the area. If you like military, army, that kind of stuff. Anyways, if you happen to watch this all the way to the end, I'd just like to thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. And until the next, I hope you all take care. Peace.